is we always have some item with the missing person's scent on it. We refer to that as the scent article, and we try to make sure that it has no one else's scent on it. And it can be anything from an article of clothing. We're going to use my emergency services pager for this exercise, and if obviously the missing person isn't going to be there to put it into a Ziploc bag, so we're actually trained on ways of acquiring that scent article that doesn't contaminate it with anyone else's scent. My name is Marc Polikov. I am a search dog handler with Absaroka Search Dogs, and the purpose of our group is to respond to requests for assisting search and rescue agencies in Montana and throughout the region to look for those that are either lost or missing in the mountains, in the plains, and even in town if it's necessary. The process for selecting a dog and for training a dog really begins before we even get the dog. There's a number of different evaluation procedures that we use to help determine if the dog is going to be suited for training for search and rescue work. And once we've selected the right puppy, we start training right when they're young, anywhere from 2 to 3 months of age. And that training process will continue for the life of the dog, but the intensive part of the training will continue for another year to 2.5 years while the dog is trained in all of the different search disciplines. So the dogs can be trained to locate people using their noses by doing what we call air scenting, which is following scent that's carried to them on the breeze. They can be trained to follow the trail of scent that a person leaves when they walk through an area that's deposited on the ground. And then we also train the dogs to locate those who are deceased, either if the body is laying on the ground, if it's buried, or if it's still underwater, or even if it's under snow, as it might be the case in an avalanche. This is what we use for helping us determine wind direction. It's powdered food coloring mixed with cornstarch. That way it doesn't pose any kind of a health hazard if the dogs inhale it accidentally the way they might with, like, for example, talc. So how sensitive the dog's noses are is really not fully understood, because we don't have machines that can measure as sensitive as a dog's nose is. There's pretty good evidence that dogs can detect human scent on the order of parts per billion and parts per trillion. It's possible that it may go beyond that, but at this point we don't have machines that can measure to that degree of accuracy. In terms of sensitivity, we did have a case a number of years ago where my search dog at the time was able to locate the body of a man that had drowned in the Fort Peck Reservoir, and they were actually sent in a submersible, an unmanned submersible, to verify it and then to bring the body to the surface. That body was located over 100 feet deep. Now, in terms of successes where we've actually had a save, because the success of finding somebody that's deceased is rewarding for the dog team, but obviously doesn't have the outcome of actually rescuing somebody alive. But in terms of an actual rescue, my first search dog was able to follow a guy that was got lost while he was out hunting south of Big Timber up in the foothill area of the Beartooths, and he'd been missing for 24 hours, and she wound up following his trail for over 6 miles, and we were able to actually successfully find him and pull him out of the mountains ahead of a winter storm that was coming in that certainly would have been challenging for him to survive, because the storm dropped over a foot of snow and sent temperatures down below zero. And we were able to get him out with a few hours to spare before that storm hit.